Welcome back to the Plays with Cars YouTube channel. My name is Michael, and if you watched last week's video on Miniatures Monday, we did some unboxing of some HO scale slot cars, which is a very popular thing on this channel that we do a lot, but it was the first time I had bought some new cars in a long while. They were the new Racemasters AFX Mega G Pluses. We looked at a couple of GT40s. If you haven't seen it, check it out up there. But if you did watch that, and you remember, I had mentioned that these were far from the only cars I had ordered, that we would probably get another video the following week when they came in. Well, they've arrived, so let's tear them open. Let's get into it. All right, so I did order cars from two different places, so I'm not real sure what we're going to get in what package, but let's check out what we've got in here. Oh, excellent. Okay, continuing on with our AFX Racemasters. This is a limited edition 5,000 unit run of the new F1 cars. These are so good. I've been really looking forward to getting my hands on one of these. So this is the Alfa Romeo team, now called Kick Sauber. And yeah, again, I don't know what's up with the numbers up there. I don't know what they're meaning. But yeah, so these are the 2023 versions. This is the special Monza paint scheme, which was a one race only paint scheme. I really liked this paint scheme, so the fact that this was the one on special was totally awesome with me. Number 77 on there. I don't know if that is Guijon Zhou or Valtteri Bottas. I'm not sure. It doesn't say, and I don't really care. I'm here for the paint scheme and for this casting because I've never had one of the newest F1s. These came out last year. They made a regular Alfa Romeo version, which was black and red. They made the Kick version, which was the black and bright green. They made this version with the Italian flag, the red, white, and green on it. I just love the asymmetricalness of it so that the flag is the correct direction on either side of the car. I thought that was like super duper rad. So we'll be pulling this one out of the package, but first let's set this aside and see what's in the other box. All right, pop this one open and see what we've got. While I'm opening this up on those F1s, I might get another one of the Alphas, but I'm gonna wait and see what other paint schemes they come out with, because I'm not a completionist, like I said on the GT40s. I'm more of a one of everything kind of guy. But I do love my F1s, so yeah, if they ever made a Ferrari or the McLaren, yeah. Anyways, okay, second box. We've got, again, sticking with the AFX Racemasters. I'm surprised this one is not limited, but it is a Collector Series Clear. This is the 1965 Shelby GT350R Mustang, and this particular one is the B Production road race car as driven by Mark Donohue. Again, I'm sure all the longtime viewers know that I am a huge Mark Donohue fan. I've had a number of real AMCs, including a Trans Am Victory Edition Javelin, of course celebrating one of Mark Donohue's Trans Am victories, and I have all of his slot cars that I've been able to get my little mitts on, and I'm very much looking forward to adding this to the collection. So we'll also be popping that one out of its package. And then finally, here is our last one. We did get one Auto World. Now, Auto World gets a lot of flack. And frankly, I think it's undeserved. First of all, these things are cheap. They are less than half the price of the AFX. Second of all, their bodies are absolutely fantastic. They're extremely well detailed. And third, their chassis actually run pretty good. Most of my kids' cars are Auto World, and all of them run. And the couple of times we have gotten one to not run, and I literally mean like 2 cars out of maybe 50 that we've purchased over the last 15, 20 years, we've contacted Auto World and they've sent us a complete brand new one, like no charge. Their customer service is fantastic. They've also recently changed their chassis and totally upgraded them. This is not one of those new chassis, but this is the FD Mazda RX-7. I have owned a number of real RX-7s. I've had an FC with a Streetport 13B in it, and a FB, an original first gen one with the 12A that I successfully campaigned in SEC Autocross. In fact, I won my first season championship in that car, and I've always loved all the RX-7s, especially the FD. And so yeah, to finally get my mitts on a slot car one, I was really looking forward to. So we'll be popping this out of the package too. In fact, I think we'll start with this one. It's not limited or anything, so nobody should cry at this. Just be careful not to chop our fingers off, which is a little hard when you got a camera in between you and what you're opening, as well as not chop the car. go. Get it freed from its tomb. And there we go. So these do sit a little high on the chassis out of the box, like most slot cars do. That's just so it can clear all of the tracks that have like loop-de-loops and bank curves and things like that. If you're running on a completely flat track, you can put shorter tires on it and also lower the body mounts. These guys right here, you can fiddle with those to get the chassis to sit higher up into the body, or the body lower on the chassis, and makes it really nice looking. So yeah, I will be swapping the chassis on this one, but the body is absolutely great. They did make this one in all black, and that's the one I actually tried to get because my buddy Jared in real life has an all black FD-RX-7 race car that I am in love with. And so I thought having a black one like his one would be awesome, but unfortunately they were sold out, so I had to go with the orange. But you know what? I do not mind one bit. This is a really nice paint color. Now, that is one thing about Auto Worlds. They are not molded in color. They are all molded in white, and they are painted the colors from the factory. So it's not like old school Aurora cars, Thunderjets and AFXs and stuff. They're not molded in color. And even the old, before it was Auto World, when it was Johnny Lightning, the Johnny Lightning versions were molded in color for the first few years. But yeah, all of the recent stuff is painted. But yeah, I am a big fan of that. I think the proportions are really nice. Now, obviously, this is not a completely stock body kit on it. This car was actually molded after the Fast and the Furious RX-7. That's where this mold came from, as well as all of their other import car molds. They were all originally released as the Fast and the Furious cars, but I do really enjoy that they've been coming back out as regular cars or non-licensed cars. For those of us that just want the regular ones and not necessarily the movie cars. Although the movie cars are very cool. I do not have any of them. All right, let's see what else are popping open. We shall do the Mustang next. Now, this car caught a lot of flack online because it is absolutely gigantic. A real Mustang should be about the size of the RX-7, and well, like you can see, it is pretty huge. Part of that is that, as you see here on the wheelbase, AFX Racemasters insist on doing almost all of their cars on this 1.7 chassis instead of the 1.5 like Auto World. And that makes the cars like just a little bit scaled up. So they're not HO scale. They're definitely not 187th. But they're not even like 1/64th scale like Hot Wheels size anymore. These things have gotten pretty crazy big. Now, this will give you an idea what I am talking about. So here we've got the FD-RX-7 slot car with an FD-RX-7 Hot Wheels car. Now, I know Hot Wheels is not the greatest on sizes, but I mean, you can see these cars are nearly identical body size wise. Even wheelbase is fairly close. So, you know, if all of your cars are about this scale, this car fits in just fine. Now, switching to the Mustang, here we have a 65 Shelby GT 350R. This one is a green light. So this one is actually like really true 1/64th, so it's even better than like what Hot Wheels would do. And here it is with the Hot Wheels RX-7, just so you can see its size, die-cast to die-cast. This thing keeps trying to get away from me. They still, right, are about the same size, okay? Now let's put up this true 1/64th versus this car that's supposed to be HO scale 1/87th. And you can see it is noticeably larger, especially on its width. It just makes for a really awkward, ungainly sized car. So the proportions are really nice. I mean, it's just this car scaled up. If I move this car closer to us so that they're the same scale, you know, the proportions are good. Like, it's not anything like that. It's just that this car is so much bigger than everything else in its casting size. But realistically, all of the AFXs are like that. They're 70 Camaro and their other muscle car options, the new 70 Trans Am and stuff, they're all based on this 1.7 chassis. They are all this slightly larger scale. You race them against each other, you're not going to notice, right? It's only when you're racing them against other slot cars. Now, anything against a T-Jet is going to look weird because a T-Jet is actually 187th and is very, very small. But this against most other AFXs or most other modern snap-in chassis cars is probably going to be just fine. So I was more than happy to pick this one up and add it to my collection. All right, I opened the F1 off camera because I really wanted to preserve this, the limited edition insert, because I really liked the photography and stuff that was included on it. So I didn't want to necessarily cut that one up. So it is opened. Here is the car, and we'll free it from its little holder here, and you can see the new Mega G Plus chassis in there. And now this chassis is a bit different than the Mustang. So it's still the 1.7, it's still skinny. What they do is, on the Mustang and all their other larger ones, they have this kind of body clip built in with the glass now, so that it can use the skinny chassis. And then in the F1, clearly you don't need that because the chassis just needs to be skinny. Let's see if we can even get it out of there. There we go. Okay, took a little bit of fiddling to kind of get this body tweaked enough to get it off without breaking it. But yeah, that is, look at the little stakes, the little arrow rakes in there for the underfloor and stuff. That is extremely well done. You got your little flap here for the wing that opens and closes during the race. Got the halo bar on there. You even have the this little thingy right here on top of the roll hoop is what has the cameras in it. Yeah, that is an extremely well done body. Yeah, all the areas that have the bare carbon going on them, all the little sponsor decals. This might be the nicest slot car new release I've seen in a very, very, very long time. But yeah, then the chassis is just the same as the Mustang. Now, one thing I really like about all the new AFXs is that they're running different wheels on everything that are as close as possible to the real thing. So this car in real life used a torque thrust 5-spoke magnesium wheel, and that's what you've got. And the F1 cars have these aero discs on the Pirelli P0s, and they've got them replicated perfectly on here. And they're colored correctly for the cars too. So your regular one has the red covers, the lime green. Kick version has the lime green covers, and this one has the gold covers that they ran, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I am super stoked on this. It pops back in way easier than it pops out. Okay. All right, of course I couldn't leave without showing you how these cars size up with other ones in their class from the past. And you can see this is kind of the most modern F1 body to come out since, or until this one. And I gotta say, that actually measures up in real life because the new F1 cars are significantly longer than the mid-2000s cars. And so that actually checks out. And same thing even when you go back to the 90s cars, that is a very, very solid sizing of the new F1 to the older ones. I am really, really happy with this one. I will definitely be collecting more of these to go with my F1s throughout the ages. That car absolutely does it right. Now, one thing I will mention real quick is AFX Racemasters did do a brand new version of the Senna Lotus that comes in 2 different colors. So far, you can only get it in the special edition box set with the track. I am not willing to spend that kind of money on those at the moment. They look a little out of scale in photos because the driver's helmet is way too big and so is the cockpit. But I've seen some photos online of people switching the helmet out for a smaller helmet, and those have looked significantly better. If they ever release those cars singularly, even if they're not the same paint scheme, I might consider picking one up just because I do really enjoy all the different F1 castings, and there has been some differences in helmet and cockpit size over the years, so I'm okay with it. I think it's mostly that it's in that race set that is really expensive and just isn't something I'm willing to do at the moment. Okay, let's move on to the Mustang. Now, I did show it to you next to the diecast, but I want to show it to you next to some other AFX road race cars. And there you can see the issue. The Javelin is a much bigger car in real life than a 65 Mustang. In fact, it would be somewhere about like that in reality. So the fact that it is backwards shows you just how much larger of a scale this car really is. And yeah, you really see it there together. But like I said, out on the track racing, when they're not right absolutely next to each other, it's probably close enough, but just something to be aware of, that they are kind of wackily out of scale. Yeah, so anyways, we'll leave you with a smattering of Mark Donahue cars here. I'll get out a Sunoco as well. There we go. Oh, you know what? There's another one. Look at that. Like I said, we got lots of Mark Donahue laying around here. So getting all of those together. There's another one. Booyah. That's a nice photo. So yeah, there is one for the collection. But yeah, it's pretty large sized. All right, one more look at the Mustang before I put it away, though. Like I said, it is scaled similarly to the other modern AFX Racemaster releases. So if you stick with just these, it's scaled just fine. There is the 70 Boss 302 and the 70 Z28 Camaro, and you can see it is close enough there, no problem. Again, in real life, the 69 is or the 70 is a little bit bigger than the 65, but again, it works just fine. So if you're just collecting modern AFX Racemasters, not a problem. If you're racing against older AFX, there's going to be a little bit of a wonkiness to it. If you're racing against anything else like a T-Jet, forget about it. All right, and finally was the RX-7. I did mention that Auto World has done some other bodies, again, all attributed to the Fast and Furious franchise, but they've been releasing them in these other paint schemes, including these racing-inspired ones like the Supra here and the R34 GTR, but it is nice to see some more street car liveries as well. Now, I do want to leave one last thing before we go. We were talking about scale with that Mustang this whole time. Racemasters isn't the only people with scale problem. This is an old Tyco first gen FB RX-7 like my real one, and well, in real life the FB is absolutely tiny, and even as small as the FD is much larger than the FB. It would be somewhere around like that. So yeah, the fact that the old Tyco FB from what 35 years ago is still incorrectly sized compared to the FDRX7. So yeah, scale has kind of always been a thing with slot cars. So yeah, just keep aware of it, that some are going to be a little too big and some are going to be a little bit too small. But as long as you scale them to each other when you're racing, they are pretty good. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I did get some more slot cars than that, but the other ones were all for the kids, and they have been literally ripping those around the track since they came in, and that was kind of my excuse to add to my collection was, hey, I need to get some for the kids anyway. There was a little sale going on, throw in a couple extras for me. I don't know when I'll be able to do that again, but I was very grateful to be able to pick up the few that I was able to pick up and add to my collection. Yeah, so very cool cars. Definitely looking forward to getting some of those around the track myself. So yeah, definitely be doing that this upcoming spring break with the kids. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Miniatures Mondays and some more HO scale slot car newness. I hope you guys really enjoyed that unboxing video. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see or any other cars from my collection or anything like that. Throw it down in the comments below. Until then, we'll catch you in the next video.